Now in this situation, you can see your target. See your target's in focus. And you know that you can't focus on your pins and the target at the same time. And this particular one we call the pinpoint target airbender. And if you bring this in, there's your pin. Now your cone pin is actually on the bow. The target you saw was on the wall away. Now with that cone pin, you note that it's in focus. You bring that pin right up to the edge of this lens. Your target is to the other side of the edge of the lens, and that pin is in focus with your target. Now what's unique is that no matter how old you are, the pin is in focus with your target. And if I raise this up, you will see that whether keep in mind, the only thing that's moving is the camera. And that pin stays on the target. And I bring it down, and you can still see that nice refined pin on the target. So instead of looking through a peep on a string, you find that you have the flexibility. You can pull this archery sight up. You can focus on the pin. You bring it up to the target, which is in focus with the pin, but it is not in the lens. You're looking at the target with your regular eye. You're seeing the pin on the right side through the lens. Now you'll notice that above the pin and below the pin, it's blurry. So you work on the pin itself, right on the point. You bring that pin to the right side of the target, and your hit point is right there. What's unique about this is you get rid of parallax. If I'm up here, the pin's on the target. If I'm down here, the pin stays on the target. So you have 24 millimeters of viewing space instead of a little bitty peep. So you could pull it, and you could actually have a different anchor point. As long as your release is the same each time, you could have a different anchor point. You could anchor it there, you could anchor it here, anchor it here, anchor it up here. As long as that pinpoint is on the target, your bow angle has not changed, because you can see this bow is hooked up into a vise. Back off here, and you can see that it's just set in a vise. It's not going anywhere. Rockwell vise, advertising here. And there's the sight system, and it's on the bow. You can see the key to how this works, and you can really have any front sight you want. And this pin, when it's positioned properly, the lens will bring that into focus. And we have a dowel pin that will show you how to set it up. But this is called the light bender, and it's a new sight, and it works very well. So getting rid of a peep, giving you flexibility, getting rid of parallax, allowing you to tell torque on the bow. The light bender, 3 options. You've got the single point, multiple pin, and then you got the actual cone point. And the cone point gives you an infinitive point that actually is in focus. You can actually see the point. So when I bring this around this chair, bring it into your sight picture, and there you go, with a single point that you can actually see that point and being in focus with your target. And see how infinitive that is? And you can tell torque because of the edge of that lens. If you go too far one way, you can't see the target. If you go too far the other way, you can't see the pin. So you bring that in. Now here's what the pin, you see how that pin is in focus? But that doesn't do you a whole lot of good because you can't see the target. The target is seen on the other side of the lens. So you can see how that works. Bring that up. You can see an infinitive point, and you can see that infinitive point down or low. Now the reason the orange comes through the lens is because we're shooting this at a target that's really close. And that orange wouldn't normally be there. You'd have your target and it would be blurry and it wouldn't give you such a distraction. But you can see what this sight does. It gives you flexibility. You don't have to have a peep. You don't have to have the torque. You can make your anchor point where you want. Literally, you could pick up this bow, and if somebody has a certain anchor point, but they put that pin right on the spot, it's going to hit right there. Somebody else who has a different anchor point wants to hold it lower, but they put the pin on that dot, it's going to hit right at the same place. Somebody else picks it up and they've got a different anchor point, but they put the pin on the dot. The bow angle, while I'm moving this, is not changing. You have the bow hooked into a vise, it is not changing at all. So that sight picture stays the same whether you have a high or a low anchor point. And this one would be more for just target, or it would be good for the adjustable front pin. This one gives you the most accuracy, because once you get used to using it, you'll see that all you see is that front pin. It's as small as you can get, and no matter how old you are, you can see that pinpoint. And at the end of the pinpoint is where you put the bullseye, and you can see both in focus at the same time. Now, one thing I found can be a problem is people don't like wearing corrective lenses, or they wear parallax lenses which are blurry to the outside edge when they shoot. And this sight is set up for somebody who has 20/20 vision, or they wear corrective lenses that bring them up to 20/20 vision. And if you're looking through it and it's blurry, it's 9 times out of 10 it'll be because you actually need a small amount of correction in your eyeglasses. This is set up where it functions perfect for somebody who is corrected to 20/20. So, the single cone pin light bender sight, and its attributes you can see are that it's in focus. You can see that pinpoint right to the edge of the lens, and it's an infinitive point as small as you can get. It's quick, it's easy, and you don't need a peep. So, this one being unique, single cone pin, and then you've seen the one with the multiple pins, and you've seen the one with the single pin. Light bender.